We're doing a countdown to the opening of the show in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And, I got a notification that our stream has started. So, welcome, everybody. This is episode
20.
Yeah, 20 of Sports Goofs. I want to make sure, are we on all the networks, guys? Twitch, all that stuff? Yes, yeah, I see we're on YouTube. That's perfect. And I'm joined here by my good buddies, Charles, Mr. WWE, and Andrew, Mr. Orlando.
Hello.
I've been giving people Mr. nicknames lately because I saw Gabe Glasser, a friend of ours from law school, and I call him Mr. EOIR. I won't tell you the meaning of that, but I'm just giving people Mr. nicknames at this point. I'm not going to give myself one, though.
We had a really big thing about giving each other really random nicknames in law school. Like one of our classmates gave, I guess technically he's still a sports goof, Doug.
Yeah.
Dougie Souls was his nickname. Another one was Scotty Norbs.
Charles knows who we're talking about.
So pretty much any name, a one-syllable name, or a one-syllable name plus an E at the end, and then their last name shortened and then put an S to it.
Yeah, essentially that was it. All right, so there's a ton of NHL games on tonight. We are down to the Final Fours for men's and women's basketball. We are down to the Frozen Four in NCAA hockey. Men's hockey. The women's hockey is already wrapped up.
Congratulations to the Wisconsin Badgers.
The NBA season, there's about 4 games on tonight, and the season's about to wrap up as well for the NBA. And finally, baseball has started, so we all have hopes and dreams, except for me. Well, I do have my own hopes, and we'll get to that soon enough. But guys, first things first, let's get to the one league that we care about. That's the Alliance of American Football.
Oh, brother.
It came out today.
So I'm the resident AAF person in the crew, so I'll just announce it. So the AAF, it's basically its owner in a sense, because he's the majority owner based on how much money he put down. What was his name? Poland or
Tom Dundon.
What's that?
The Hurricanes guy? No, the Hurricanes guy backed out, right?
No,
it's that guy.
Yeah,
Tom
Dundon's
Dundon.
owner. Dundon. Thank you, Freddie, and welcome to the podcast. I knew I could count on you, Freddie.
Dunder Mifflin from The Office.
BU. Fuck Wisconsin.
Well then, we are already starting off on a good note. I'm assuming that's his.
Charles,
his.
Yes, the AAF is done.
Dun dun. It was killed. It should be on Law and Order.
Well, it's not killed officially. Let me clarify that. They have just suspended operations, which means that they haven't officially shut down yet. I want to make that clear.
So they're essentially like the Arena Football League, which has like 40 of their teams suspending operations or something.
But all indications are, in the next couple of days, they will officially shut down entirely. So let me just give some background on this for anyone that doesn't know. So
I don't know all these details, so this is good for me.
So back in February, it was, I think the AAF was 2 weeks in. There were rumors abound that they didn't have enough money to even pay. In the American sports system, the AAF is represented by 2 separate yet equally important groups. The players they can't get and the investors who shut down the failing league. These are their stories. Dun, dun. Credit to you, Locks the Fox.
Oh, that's great. That is fantastic.
Shout out to Locks the Fox from Reddit for that one. That's beautiful. Oh, brother. Goodness. So the story behind it is the AAF allegedly didn't have enough capital to pay its players after just the second week of the season, so they had to find a mega backer to help them out. And that mega backer was Dundon. I forget his first name. Dundon, who is also
Tom Dundon.
Tom Dundon, thank you. Tom Dundon, who is also the owner of the Carolina Hurricanes in the NHL. He said he was going to put up $250 million total, but put $70 million up front. Everyone thought, okay, this is good. The original plan for the league was they were going to be in the red for 3 years until they could ingratiate themselves with the NFL and become essentially their minor league system. Dundon wanted to accelerate things a bit to now. The problem with that is the AAF wanted NFL practice players. But those practice players, no matter how little to no playing time they're going to get, they're still covered by the NFLPA in the collective bargaining agreement. And it is next to impossible to change a collective bargaining agreement in a couple of weeks. So Dundon, in essence, by doing this, set the AAF up to fail. Because, and the thing, though, is talks were promising between the NFL, the NFLPA, and the AAF. They were on the track to getting some sort of agreement going, but it wasn't obviously fast enough for Dundon. And since he is the controlling owner, he has the most money put into this thing, what he says goes. So he officially suspended operations today, and based on reports, practice player that gets hurt in an AAF game is useless to an NFL team who would need them. Exactly. That's what the NFLPA's problem was. But Dundon said, you're going to give us this or we're going to shut down the league. And he didn't get it, so he didn't shut down the league. He suspended operations. But based on the tone that interviewers gave, it looks like this isn't going to be... they're not going to be restarting anytime soon. So this is probably the end for the AAF.
Okay. I mean, it's too bad. I wanted to talk about essentially why I think it failed. For one, I think it was essentially what this Tom Dundon did. It's trying to shoehorn or trying to rush this whole. He was basically doing the DCEU version of minor league football, just trying to get it out the door and see how quickly you could get it to happen and be successful like other minor leagues, but he couldn't do it, and that was the issue with the AAF, and I think it's the issue with a lot of these startup football leagues that are trying to do this. I mean, really the only like minor pro league that I think has any semblance of success is the Canadian Football League, and it's a different take on the sport.
It is completely
right.
I know most people think that it's the same, but it is completely different.
Yeah, it's different. The field is bigger. The players, it's just a different game. But I mean, the NFL tried to do this, like with the NFL Europe back in the late '90s and early 2000s. And then you have like the Arena Football League, but that's still not it's just still a different game. Just even what little semblance of the league that is left. So I thought the AAF should have been something akin to how the NBA created the G League. And by that I mean the G League was more of an organic creation by the NBA. They looked at all of these other basketball leagues, like the Continental Basketball Association, just these leagues that ran, out there in the Midwest or wherever, and they essentially absorbed those teams to become part of the initial franchises of the G League. For example, the Miami Heat's affiliate, the Sioux Falls Skyforce out in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. They were a former member of the Continental Basketball Association, from what I recall. And they had been in the league for quite a while and were an established franchise. So the NBA didn't just they created some teams. They would have to, but they didn't just do that. They also absorbed all of these existing franchises with their existing fans and existing markets so that it could thrive and they could help in the development of their players, and all with the backing of the Players Association for the NBA, because it just means more jobs for them, and it means they're taking care of these guys. These guys have a chance, guys coming out of college or from Europe or whatever, to actually play some professional basketball and also play under a system that could lead to an NBA franchise. So the G League was nice with regards to that, and now the G League has 30 franchises. There's an affiliate for each of the NBA franchises, and I would say that most of the teams are successful in a sense, but at the very least they've spread the market for basketball and it works. I think if the NFL tried, or the AAF had tried to, maybe not like the big massive TV deals, they tried to have so much fanfare, so much noise about it that it kind of killed them in the end. Like, they should have just kind of laid low, been a little more subtle about it, and then maybe if they could sustain themselves for 3 or 4 years, then start pushing for that type of stuff.
Well, like I said earlier, the plan from Bill Polian and the rest of the original AAF investors was to essentially operate in the red for the first couple of seasons. Should have chosen a different team instead of the Express. Welcome to this podcast.
And actually, the San Antonio Commanders, they were the most successful of the franchises. They had an average attendance of like 40,000. So it wasn't like it couldn't work.
No, it absolutely had the. It could have survived, and it was surviving if it just had an investor who wasn't out for, we could say, nefarious reasons. I won't speculate too much further into that, but some people think that Dundon was out to scuttle the league so he could get their intellectual property to simulcast gambling. Which would be totally illegal. Okay. And if for anyone that doesn't know, the AAF introduced, it's not actual gambling because no money's involved, but on its app it does a simultaneous simulcast. You get to choose or predict what plays are going to happen, all the way down to, is it going to be a running play to the left? Is it going to be a running play to the right? Will it be just a straight pass play, etc.?
I mean, it kind of reminds me of this. I think it was called Pre-Play app. It was like a game on phone. They had it for the NHL and Major League Baseball. It was a game of you choose, hey, is this going to be a base hit? Is this going to be a bunt? Is this going to be whatever? The same thing for NHL. It was pretty fun, but I think it only lasted for a few seasons for both leagues.
Here, can we pull something up on the screen really quick?
Cool. What is it?
It's the last AAF rankings from Freddie. It's up on Twitch.
Sure. Can you send me the link?
Absolutely.
On Messenger, and I can just post it up here?
Absolutely.
But, I don't know. I just think that they kind of did it in a... They try to make everything happen so fast, and it became so unorganic, disingenuous. I don't know, but
this was a total coulda, woulda, shoulda.
It's a shame.
This could have worked, it would have worked, and it should have worked, but it didn't work. And unfortunately, what is that saying? Close only is in horseshoes and hand grenades. Same basic thing. They were close to making this work, but it didn't happen, thanks to Dundon wanting to accelerate things a bit. But short of some miracle, the AAF is done. And I was telling the guys this the other day in our messenger chat. I think the AAF was the last. I know the XFL is coming next year, but I think if the AAF couldn't survive, they were the last hope for another pro football league. Even if they weren't directly competing with the NFL, that went by the wayside a long time ago. I think the XFL was the last possible chance for that to happen.
And we'll see what happens with that.
And you know how that turned out, the 2001 version. I blame Vince McMahon in part. The AAF tried to launch with short run-up in order to beat XFL 2.0.
That's a nice segue to see what Charles thinks about this.
Charles, I can touch on this. I never cared for the AAF. I didn't care for anything that tried to be anything that wasn't independent of itself. I think the AAF came in with the presumption of being a G League or an expanded practice squad. And what you guys got to remember is that to get people to want to view it, you need to have the big players, the big names, the big wow moments. I watched some highlights to it, and it was just like bad. The defenses played nice to some degree because they at least hit the guys hard. But when your star players across the league are Garrett Gilbert, Trent Richardson, Zach Stacy, and I only know some of these guys because they were your playoff, or not your playoff, but they're your fantasy football guys. I mean, Charles Johnson, who used to play for the Minnesota Vikings. Everybody else is kind of bad. And what you guys have to realize is that a lot of these players from the AAF, it's not, aside from the few feel-good stories that came in there, they were just bad dudes coming out of college. They had the scouting committees in the 32 teams in the NFL that says, crap. Maybe we'll take you. You have some off-field issues. You have potential. And then the highlight to them was, hey, we got Johnny Manziel, who did nothing coming into it. Now, I understand it's a little bit more complicated, but they rushed into going to the AF because they didn't have money for payroll in the second week. What happened was Vince McMahon sold some stocks from his company, from WWE, to create Anthem, right? His big sports entertainment thing aside from sports or from the wrestling, I guess. And then what happened is Charlie Ebersol, Bill Polian, they're like, hey, let's beat them to punch because there's no legitimacy on your end. Let's go rush it. Let's get owners and investors who don't really want to invest in much. And mind you, these are guys who are probably just millionaires, not billionaires. They're not Jerry Jones who can at least, pull in some money to help fund them. That's why they were desperate to go to Tom Dundon. So I don't feel bad because what's the whole idea is that you sold out too quickly and you couldn't keep your end of the word. You can keep your end of the bargain. You didn't create exciting football. You didn't have an image. And it's one of those things where, and listen, for those who know that I'm a wrestling fan, I have gripe with Vince McMahon. That will be heard later in the day. But Vince won out because he's being patient with it. They can build the XFL, at least have an idea where the AAF's failings are, and take those failings and work from there. Maybe the idea of that we shouldn't, because you got to think of all the money that's going to be owed to the NFL, to TBS, to TNT for the broadcasting rights that they put in there, that there's going to be nothing to broadcast. Advertisers, okay, yeah, sure, you get some paychecks, but it leaves a bad taste in the mouth. And you know what happens? It makes a lot of the owners who contribute look like fools. It makes Bill Polian kind of look foolish. And here was always the simple solution. This is why I never liked the AF. If your idea is like we want to get more guys more practice ready, or not even practice ready, but game ready come the start of the year for the NFL, the simple solution is this. You expand the roster from 53 to like 60 to 65. So that way you can actually call up dudes, have them have the proper training, have them be the next man up in case injuries occur. And here's another thing about the AF. Why would I want to take a chance on guys who came out 2 or 3 years ago, 4 years ago even, when I have a new crop of guys coming in from college football every year? Whereas I don't know what the XFL is going to do, but something tells me they're going to want to be away from the teat of NFL, Roger Goodell, and everybody else, and be their own independent person. They're single independent female guys. They didn't need no man, and they might be more successful to that. I don't know, but they can learn from the failures and do their own thing. And if anything, imitation is the highest form of flattery, so they can mimic what they want, but learn from the mistakes. I think they might go longer than one season. Hell, they can't even say they can go. Them finishing a season in the XFL is a compliment because we only got like 8 games in for the AF. You didn't even get the playoffs. So it's a success on everybody else. Bob Stoops, because that's the only big name in Oliver Luck that I can recall that made it, whereas they didn't do it here.
Yeah. All right. But there is one thing actually before we move on to this thing that I posted up actually. So I think me and Andrew were here Saturday setting up for the show. And we happened to catch, what was the game? The San Antonio Commanders?
It was
Memphis Express, right?
It was the Memphis Express.
Versus Orlando.
Was it?
Yeah, it was versus the Orlando Apollos. They were upsetting them.
And of course, for anyone that, I think everyone knows, Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football, was signed to the Memphis Express. And, the background is he had started the game initially, I believe. I didn't catch the beginning of the game. But he was knocked out of the game with a potential concussion. He took it wasn't blatant, it wasn't nefarious in any way, but he threw an interception, went for a low tackle on the returner,
right,
and in the process went a little bit too low, so he was near the ground and he got kneed in the head by the returner.
Right.
Again, I don't think anyone would think it was a nefarious hit. It wasn't intentional. He just got in the way of a guy running. So he's knocked out of the game, and he spent the rest of the game recuperating, obviously. And this is where I'll let Francisco chime in.
So we were watching the game. I didn't even know that happened, but I didn't even care at that point. But we were watching the game streaming on YouTube. Somebody was streaming the stream on YouTube. It was a streamception, if you will. But the comments on YouTube, and I love YouTube comments for this very reason. Like, there's sometimes where I hate it, sometimes where I love it, but gosh darn it, these people were brutal. So there was a point where they had a shot of Johnny Manziel sitting, not even on the sidelines, near the tunnel, eating, I think it was a basket of nachos.
I think it was a basket of nachos.
Okay, it was a basket of nachos, and he's just sitting there eating inside with his jacket on or something. He was in his civilian clothes. And so the people commenting were so effing funny. Like, there was a nice escalation. It's like, oh, Johnny Football is eating nachos. They were calling him Johnny Nachos, and then Johnny Cocaine, and then Johnny Heroin. I put Johnny Uranium. Just all these substances.
For college football fans, the only way I can describe it really is it looked very, very similar to Urban Meyer after he lost the Big Ten championship a few years ago, where he was sitting on, I guess you can call it a gator, one of those little utility carts, and he was all alone eating his own personal Papa John's pizza, looking very sad. I'll send you a picture to put it up on the screen.
Okay, but the comments here. So here's we took a couple of screenshots from the comments. So here, Johnny Manziel. Yeah, so I was just chilling here in the trash can where I belong, and I found these nachos. Can you believe somebody threw out almost a full basket of nachos? And then the other comment here, Johnny Manziel ejected from the game for butt chugging a nip of fentanyl. And then the second one here, Johnny Manziel ejected for keystering a fan's popcorn bucket while tripping on acid. And then finally, Johnny is currently strung out in an abandoned Best Buy parking lot with a needle in his arm. I can't. Oh God! Just for the sake of a few more games of Johnny Manziel in the AAF, I regret Tom Dundon shutting down the league for now.
Hold on, check your Facebook really quick. Thanks to Freddie, he got there before I did. I want to show like a side-by-side comparison between Urban Meyer and Johnny Manziel, because that was the very fitting.
Where did you send it?
Facebook right now.
To me or to the Sports Goofs? To the group? I don't see it. I see Frozen 4.
It should be there in a sec.
All right, give me it. Alrighty.
I'm also trying to pull up a picture of.
If not, I can Google search it. I'm assuming it's on Google.
Yeah.
Let me see. Was it Urban Meyer eating a bowl of nachos?
Yeah. Oh no! Urban Meyer pizza.
Oh, there's a. Oh, God. It's up.
Looked like my Saturday night.
It's okay. Eat sad post-loss pizza.
That has become a meme in college football circles. Whenever something bad or sad happens, everyone thinks of, and I found a clip. I found a clip of him eating. I found a clip of him eating the nachos.
There's the GIF.
You found it?
It looks even more sad. It's from SB Nation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy. Oh, thank you, Internet. Thank you very much. I'm very much happy now.
Hold on, check.
I love the tags next to it. Sad eating Ohio State Urban Meyer.
Check Facebook again. I just sent over a tweet.
God.
Oh boy.
I mean, it must be good nachos.
I'm sure they were.
Memphis for nachos.
Memphis is. I wonder if they were barbecue nachos. I mean, that would make sense considering it is Memphis.
All right. What? Okay. You sent me this. Let's see what this is. Okay. Yeah. There it is. Trying to see if it can play, but if it doesn't, regardless, believe me, he's eating the nachos, and it was funny. Okay. All right, guys. Is that the end of our AAF coverage for now until the sun blows us up?
I suppose so. I mean, if something changes, we'll obviously apprise you of such changes, but it really does not appear like any miraculous miracle is going to happen to save the AAF, which would be unfortunate because I had a lot of fun watching the Orlando Apollos. I wish I could have gotten to a game. I actually thought I would have been able to make it to a game at some point. Alas, it was not in the cards. And actually, speaking of Orlando, you brought up...
That's true. It's actually our thumbnail. They are forever the AAF champions. They are the 94 Expos of the AAF.
Exactly. Anyone that doesn't know the Montreal Expos in 94, they were the top team in the league, had the best record. They were all but guaranteed to make it to the playoffs and were definitely the front runners to win the World Series. But then the 94 lockout struck, and that wiped out the rest of the season. And then they went back to media.
It was a player strike. It wasn't a lockout, so it was
players strike. Sorry,
just blame on both sides there.
Yeah. And then they went back to mediocrity after that.
Yeah. But okay, guys. Moving on. Just some NFL thing. I just wanted to get this out of the way. So NFL draft hats have been revealed. I don't watch the NFL draft. I couldn't care less because I'm a Dolphins fan. Even though I should probably care because our season is going to be a tank-tastic endeavor in 2019. However, the New Era, which I'm wearing a New Era cup right now. They're not my non-sponsor, but I'm wearing a Houston Astros New Era cup right now. A team that does give me hope, my American League team. And they just released a design that's based on the city flags of the NFL teams that they belong to. So we have it here. So it's pretty interesting. You have KC there. You have Jacksonville, all in team colors. You have Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Denver, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's flag is so weird. It is. It
is the worst flag in the history of ever.
I think Seattle just has the 12th man. Their corny marketing gimmick.
I think I saw a hat.
And the Oakland Raiders have a U.S. flag, but that's only because Oakland does not love them anymore. That's for sure. So I think that makes sense. They just have the U.S. flag. I guess it stands for Raider Nation, I'm assuming. And then let's see. So we got Atlanta, Arizona, Buffalo. It's all pretty dark. I don't know. Baltimore looks very plain. I don't think they did anything. Same thing for Green Bay.
Steelers looking like a taxi cab.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. That is true. The Jets is coming soon because the Jets are going to have a new logo, even though it was leaked there. If you saw it, I think that's probably it. You got Tennessee, Washington, and did I see the Bears? Oh, the Bears don't have anything either. That would have been nice. Chicago has a nice flag.
They do. It's very nice.
One
of my favorites.
The Chicago Bulls have a city edition version of that flag, and it looks really nice.
BU brought up regarding you not watching the draft. He said there's a difference between caring and subjecting yourself to 3 days of people talking about nothing.
That is true.
That is very true.
It's pretty much my perspective on all prospects and all that stuff. I just need to see it. I just need to see it happen in front of me. Okay, these guys you keep telling me are good. I mean, God, it's like Jeremy Hermida, old Florida Marlin. Like, oh, this guy's gonna be good. He never panned out. Jeremy Hermida, you suck. You're my non sponsor for this week, wherever he is, sitting on his millions of dollars.
Charles coming in.
Mel Kiper to just. Jimmy Neutron look.
That's what it's there for.
Yeah, that is true. Jimmy Neutron was on TV like a couple days ago.
Really?
Yeah, the movie like on Showtime or something like that. I didn't watch it though. I don't like the movie. I don't know why. Yeah. Oh, got a blast. All right, so that's our football talk. There's nothing else. I was gonna talk about Le'Veon Bell's horrible music video, but
we're running out of time.
No, yeah, we're already half an hour into this. So
there was a lot. We've been gone. Well,
we've been
gone for 3 weeks, but there was, I guess you could call them AAF suspending breaking news. I guess you could call it that.
We were suspended a little less than the AAF, that's for sure. I think we were a little less. I think. Oh, there was a comment that I posted on our Facebook page where somebody commented. So you're telling me that Big Baller Brand lasted longer than the AAF?
That is just awful. It's
as far. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead. I've been.
Oh, as far as I'm concerned, we lasted longer than the AF. This is second season of the show, you guys. Think about that. What that 3-week break was.
That is true. This is our 20th episode, so we have lasted longer than the AAF. We've lasted longer. We're in better financial condition.
Although we did suspend operations a couple of times.
But we are still running. We are the Arena Football League of podcasts. There's only 4 of us, and some of them, that 4th one, we're not even sure if we gets there. But
technically 5.
Yeah, technically 5. It's basically that. Okay, so all right, Andrew, let's go to a more cheery topic, the Fulmer Cup. Let's see who got arrested.
Oh yeah. So, let me pull up the information here. I just had it here.
So, for those of you who don't know, and I guess I will do the disclaimer, we are not the official podcast of the Fulmer Cup.
Unofficial. Did you say unofficial?
I said we are not the official.
Oh,
but
yes.
Sorry. We are not the official podcast of the Fulmer Cup. The Fulmer Cup is a creation of the Reddit board college football, RCFB. Just a group of college football fans that are crazy about college football beyond anything that I've ever seen. And they love college football so much that they've created a competition called the Fulmer Cup, named after, I guess, a former coach, you said?
It was a
former athletic director or something like. Well, regardless.
Former coach at Tennessee.
Right. Essentially, counting up the arrests and creating a point system to award a college football organization so that they can be the off-season champions. So, Andrew, what you got for us?
Well, since we were off the air for 3 weeks, we had quite a bit of action. Most of it in the SEC. So we had, counting, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 arrests. Ranging anywhere from possession of marijuana all the way to, I don't want to bring it up on air since it's kind of dark, but let's just say there is a special place in hell. Allegedly. Mm-hmm. We don't know. Innocent until proven guilty, but if they are guilty...
But they only the arrest count, but yeah.
Exactly. But if it's guilty, this person deserves a special place in hell. Of course, you can go to the Fulmer Cup website to see what I'm talking about, but I just don't want to bring it up on air.
Okay, that's fine.
Anyway, so 9 arrests. 1, 2, 5 of them came from the University of Georgia.
I was just in Atlanta a couple weeks ago, so I should probably, when I pass by the College Football Hall of Fame, I should just be like, "Hey guys, you guys are winning at something finally."
And like I said, the SEC was really on top of it. We had,
as the SEC should.
We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the 9 arrests in the 3 weeks that we've been gone were SEC teams.
And they say they don't care about education.
We have Mississippi State has
don't let my brother-in-law hear that one.
Georgia, as I alluded to earlier, had 5. Tennessee and LSU were the other 2 teams. So
okay.
It was and the remaining one was a player from the University of Louisiana at Monroe.
Okay, so the SEC basically in the last 3 weeks have really stepped up their game.
Exactly.
And they're getting really bored out in those middle of nowhere towns with those schools.
I will say this, though, that as of last check, Nebraska is still in the lead for most arrests. We haven't officially awarded points yet, but in terms of actual arrests, Nebraska is still in the lead.
Alrighty. All right, so that's that basically it.
That's basically it. I mean, I don't want to waste. There was so much going on that it would take forever just to go in and dissect.
Yeah, I mean, but we can rest assured that the SEC has come out strong.
Oh, absolutely, no question, absolutely.
Yeah, as they are wont to do.
The SEC has 9 total arrests.
Just upstanding individuals.
And they were slow for the first couple of months. They had 1 in January. They had 1 in February. They came on strong with actually 10. I haven't input the.
I mean, it was March,
11.
Spring break, so that causes a lot of issues there.
Actually, 11 because I forgot to input the 2 that happened today. As a matter of fact, 2 Georgia linebackers were arrested 4 hours ago for the possession of marijuana.
Okay. Alrighty. Yeah, that's our Fulmore Cup update, guys. So we'll head on back here to the main screen now. We've done all our football talk for this time. We've talked about football. Finally, we are. I think I'd like to talk about baseball. If you guys want to head on over to that.
I can always talk baseball.
Okay, so opening day finally happened, even though it really technically did happen in Japan, and we had a very appropriate send-off for Ichiro Suzuki. I just want to say very lucky that I could see him in person play for my team, the Marlins. He graced us with our presence.
I did as well. I was very fortunate.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I was interning at the city of Miami during that summer when he was going after 3,000, and I went to I think there was that last homestand before I went to almost every game just to see if I could catch that 3,000th hit, because I want to catch all these really important moments in Miami sports history. But he got in Denver. But regardless, congratulations to Ichiro on a great career. I'm sure he's got stock in Nintendo or something like that. I have no idea. I paid his salary for a few seasons while he was in Seattle by buying all my GameCube accessories. So and Charles as well. I'm sure his Nintendo Wii paid for a lot of Ichiro's kids' breakfast. Like Latrell Speedwell said. Opening day happened for real in the U.S. And guys, let's talk about our hopes and dreams. So. Let's talk to the guy who I think has the most hopes, and it's Charles, and your New York Yankees. So how's it going? How are you enjoying Giancarlo Stanton on the injured list already?
It's not even I feel like the injury bug just doesn't want to give up the goods to one player and it wants to spread it around. He's still one man, and that man was Jacoby Ellsbury, but instead now it's Giancarlo's out for 10 games. We lost Miguel Andujar at third baseman. He's probably going to be gone for the season. And it was I had this conversation with one coworkers the other day. When an injury happens to anybody else in a sport, it's panic the big time guy. When injury happens in baseball, because we had a guy for now, Carlo, really it's the plug and play. I don't worry too much about the defensive production. Like someone's going to be able to catch the ball in the outfield. Because guess what? 99% of the time, it's a pop ball. You just go, stick your hand out, try not to get the sun in your eyes, and you grab it. There's a few of those athletic plays. Of course, the arm that you have to kind of come off. It's more or less the concern is the injuries and how it affects our lineup when it comes to hitting. Season's still young. I already feel like a dejected fan, but that's baseball. You can't give weight in the first week to teams that are winning constantly, such as the Mets. You can't give weight to your team winning, being the Marlins, being better than what you're expected. And you can't give, weight to the Red Sox who are just sucking. You have to really wait until about June to be like, all right, now we know what's kind of getting in there. Speaking of which, right now the Yankees are up 1-0. Mets are up 5-1 on the Marlins. Interesting time for baseball because there's some excitement with like Manny Machado and Bryce Harper. I don't follow the Phillies, I don't follow the Padres, but when I look at all these injuries that happened to the Yankees, I'm like, would things change at the end of our season if we picked up one of those guys? I want to say no, but it's that sick little tormenting game I like to do at night. So for me, expectations were moderate, which was at least get into the AL playoffs. It's still early, but I think even with the injuries that we have, it can still be done because we're beasts. So are almost everybody else in the AL East, but I'm happy so far with the results. If we just beat the bad teams, split the series against great teams, and come out in series over good teams.
All right, Andrew. How about you? How do you feel about the good old Rays?
I mean, there's promise. I mean, we're off to a good start thus far. Kind of hit a snag a little bit. We lost our opening day game, but.
Yeah, but you routed off the next four, so
right. So we're doing well. I think that we have the talent and the potential to compete for, at minimum, a wild card spot. But we are in the worst division to have any sort of success in.
I think you guys would have to really take advantage of the games against the Orioles. Essentially, you'd have to take like 15, I think 8 of those 18 games.
Absolutely.
And hope that I guess the Blue Jays kind of like are in that sort of like mediocre level to rattle off some wins against them. At least take 75% of those games too.
Yeah, we'll have to be next to perfect.
But you guys finally paid Blake Snell.
Yeah, and that's great. I mean. He had a bad opening day, obviously, but everyone has an off day. But Blake Snell, the reigning AL Cy Young winner, he's going to play a major part in whether we make it to the playoffs this year because he is our best pitcher. Obviously, he won the Cy Young, so he is going to be the best pitcher. He is nasty stuff. He's a tough pitcher to hit against. So I am optimistic with the Rays' chances this year. We'll see. Like Charles said, it's very early into the season.
I mean, we're in April, and I remember I made the comment. I think Cesar when I was talking about like the Dodgers and the Padres don't face each other until May. Dodgers and the Padres have started off well. But he's like, oh, come on, it's the Padres. I'm like, okay, well, it's April. Weird things are happening. The Orioles are 3-1 right now. Nobody's expecting them to rattle off 90 wins or something like that. But you never know. I mean, baseball can get weird sometimes unless they found a Moneyball strategy to get them there. I have the least hope of everyone because my good friends go down the standings right now. And as I look at the current score, on the score crawl that we got right there, I'm a fan of the Miami Marlins. Now we're 2-3. We were able to split our series against the Rockies, who are projected to be a good team this season, and they made the playoffs last year. We're already losing, I think, 5-1 to the Mets in the first inning. So it doesn't give me much hope. I'm not going to kid myself about this. Our season is going to be about tanking. And I hope the tank is beautiful. I hope it's glorious. Because I, my friends, am when I see a potential for a great tank, I'm all for it. And it'll segue into my Panthers talk later, but when there's a potential for a tank and you can really do it, you should go for it. Mm-hmm. Because there's no point in trying to go for it and essentially being what the Miami Heat are and trying to get a sliver of a hope that you could do something, but you're still a pretty average to mediocre franchise. So, or essentially what the Miami Dolphins have done for the last 15 years. Or 20 years, actually. God, it's been so long. Man, the Dolphins suck. I had to sneak that in there. Every team in Miami sucks right now, even the Heat. But the Marlins, it's about tanking. It's about building up their farm system. I still believe in Derek Jeter, in the god of Charles. And the Marlins just have to build up their farm system for the next 2 to 3, 4 seasons until we can actually see if we can prove and pay some of these guys and keep them and make a run at the World Series. But I don't know. It's not a 100th anniversary year, so I don't think we're gonna win. Unlike the little thing that Andrew pointed out, and I actually want to show it, about the correlation between the World Series logos and the Boston Red Sox winning World Series championships.
Well, it's no secret. I mean, I think anybody that follows Chris Creamer, who runs sportslogos.net, which is kind of the definitive site for anything and everything sports logo related. He knows it. Like practically anybody who's a logophile knows this. There is a correlation, between World Series logos and Boston Red Sox World Series victories, as you'll see here in a second. Every World Series, so 2004, 2007, 2013, and 2018.
So, as you can see, there's 2004, right there, World Series 04. There's
07.
There's let's put it up real close. So there's the Battered Man logo, the globe, and the connection is the flags, you said.
Correct. So every year that the World Series logo has had flags on it, the Red Sox have won the World Series.
So let's the proof is in the pudding. So there's 2004, the 2 flags right there. So let's go. So in 05, there was none. In 06.
Oh, yeah, sure, Charles. 04 was rigged.
There was none. 04 was definitely rigged. You guys couldn't throw out frickin' Dave Roberts at second base. You couldn't get David Ortiz to strike out. You couldn't get Alex Rodriguez to not slap the guy's glove, Bronson Arroyo's glove. Okay, so that was 07. I kind of skipped over it while I was throwing some shade, but yep, there's some flags right there on the top left. And then let's go back to the timeline. So there's 07, 08, whatever, and then let's get to 2013 was their other championship, and very prominent the flags right there. And
how do you even say that, Charles?
What?
Brujeria.
He said that there was some Boston Brujeria in 2004. I actually had to look that up. Brujeria means
it's witchcraft in Spanish. Finally, the last season's World Series.
Not yet.
2018.
We are.
So yeah.
We are working. We are looking at Illuminati type.
Yeah, exactly.
Illuminati level logo usage in World Series.
For Major League Baseball. So essentially what we can confirm, because they revealed the World Series logo already, or it was leaked, is there are no flags on it, so thus the Red Sox will not win the World Series this year.
Correct. I thought for a while that the every other year
Go Cubs.
Go Cubs. I thought that every year, I thought the every other year thing for the Giants back in 2010, 2012, and 2014. I thought that was the biggest Illuminati type thing in baseball, but this one has been under our noses for the past 15 years, actually.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And, man, I wish I had known that, or else I would have bet in Vegas. For the Red Sox last season. It's like, hey, give it a shot.
BU says personally, the fact that the Red Sox haven't won back-to-back World Series in over a century is probably a better indicator.
That's true. They haven't won a back-to-back World Series. They won 5 before their 86-year spell. All right, so other bit of news: Ronald Acuna, the Atlanta Braves, have decided to pay up in his sophomore season. $100 million extension for 8 years. It says here, right? Yeah, 8 years. So the Braves are really going all in on this guy and going all in on just everything. Really, it's they are. I mean, who did they face in their first series? Again, the Mets. I think they faced the Mets. And
now I have a question. I didn't look into this that much, but is this an 8-year extension tacked on to the 6 he already has? Because they can hold him for up to 6 years before he becomes a free agent.
I believe it overlaps and he starts getting the payments now. So they have him till he's 30 or 31.
Oh, really? How old is he?
21.
Oh, so they have him 10 years. Okay.
He'd been in their system for a while, and that's why they kept touting him. And then he finally made his debut, and he was awesome. So, we're here. So we have there, 8 years, $100 million. Manny Machado got the 10 years, $300 million. Bryce Harper got the 13, $330. Arenado got the 300 something or 200.
I think it's
million.
230.
Yeah,
but then,
oh yeah, the big dog.
As Urinating Tree described it, Mike Trout was given a space colony and a signing bonus of a planetarium by the Angels. He was signed for, was it $430 million over
12 years?
12 years.
12 years to not go to the playoffs with the Angels.
That is some serious moolah. Dough.
That is essentially the Angels saying, we have to win the World Series sometime between those 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
They have to win the World Series sometime between those 12 years. He's going to be a great player and all that stuff, but I'm just thinking of it from his legacy type of standpoint. He's got to win one ring in that 12 years, or else he's going to be deemed one of those, Charles Barkley, Dan Marino-esque type of players.
I will say this, though.
I would disagree.
Really?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, let Andrew finish his thought, and I'll go into my pettiness.
Again, I've been rambling on more than I usually do.
Pourquoi, Charles?
Baseball isn't like basketball in that sense, or is like football. It's not his fault for getting that long-term security in his contract. He's not the one who's out there on the mound throwing it to the batter. There's so many pieces of puzzle. It's on the organization who decided to keep him on that deal, or provide him with that deal to build the best team that they can with a proper manager. Because I think Mike Scioscia's out already, or he's out next year.
I think he just left this season. I think.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you why. I can't blame one dude, because we did it to A-Rod. And the only time we got Rodriguez a ring is when we had to go out in 2009 to get CC, AJ Burnett, Mark Teixeira. Baseball is as comprehensive as a team as possible, whereas for Chuck, it's a different story because he had to play true defense, because, there's that theory that there's no such thing as real defense in baseball, just quick hands and quick legs. And other players who go from there, a guy getting a 13-year, $400 bazillion. I'm not poo-poo on it. Maybe it's because in my old age I've become more, more kind to athletes. I shouldn't have, but just seeing it from our own growing pains when we had the big name guy, we had the Mike Trout of our generation at that.
Right. I mean, but I'd like to kind of rebut it in the sense that, like, I get what you're saying, that it's not his fault. So you didn't blame A-Rod for the lack of the Yankees not winning before 2009. It wasn't until the Yankees got the support pitching wise that, they could finally, I guess, absolve A-Rod once they finally won that 2009 World Series. But that's kind of my point for Trout, is that it's not just him, it's the Angels as well. I'm not blaming all the blame on him. Mm-hmm. It's the Angels that are saying we have to win the World Series in the next 12 years. Because if Trout does not have a ring by the end of it, it's going to be seen as a failure. If A-Rod went that entire tenure as the Yankees without a World Series ring, it would have been seen as a failure. The 2009 season kind of justified everything that had happened before that. So Trout needs to win a ring in that time frame. I think probably the only player that got away with not winning one was Ken Griffey Jr., who was like part of the last of these great players as well. But injuries and the fact that he mired in Cincinnati and Seattle for so long. But Trout and the Angels have the money to do it, to put a team around them and try and get a ring. So that's my feeling as far as the Angels are concerned.
Yeah. See, my thing is that if you're coming in from the perception of your bases, and I know this sounds very comical because of your fan base and even to a degree the Rays, is the idea that every year you should always want to be a winner, because winners get people to come to their games and everything like that. Each year you should build the best team that you can within your reasons. Some people say, hey, the best teams is the farm development that we have and AA and AAA ball. And then you have people like me who are like, hey, money. Mm-hmm. And we build it that way. But the outset every season, because you want to know what happens if every season is like we never have the expectation to lead Bills to win. Because realistically, guys, it's 30 teams in baseball. Only one team can win. And if you want to rest your laurels on being a National League champion, or you want to rest your laurels on having the NL West, I'm not attacking the Dodgers, but that's my cute thing to Cesar, who's not here with us tonight. Then you do it, right? But in reality, there's going to be only one, like Highlander. But if you're at least not having a plan to build and get there, you fire your GM because he's just taking an easy cash money right there. He's just taking your money. He's not doing anything. So if it's a good step for the Angels, like, hey, we understand that there's 30 teams in this league and not everybody can guarantee us this, but this is the first step in the right direction to build to a championship, because we have – realistically, you don't have 13 years with Mike Trout. You probably have a good 5 to 6, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, unless he becomes, something beyond that, but a LeBron-esque type of thing. But
sports medicine is amazing science, right?
Yeah. Or you just be a DH at the end of it.
Or you could be a DH. At least you're showing the blueprint. Like, you go to the Marlins. The reason why whoever is the human meat shield for Jeter as your executive operations, the reason why Mattingly is not getting fired every year is because the idea is you're building to a plan. Restock, reload on prospects, get rid of all the heavy contracts. We got you in a couple of years. But the Yanks is like, hey, double sell on a couple of our closers, all this Chapman. We fleeced them, got them back, but we're building to a farm system for prospects, or at least we're buying out guys. It's a step in the right direction. I understand the pressure, because isn't that every team? Like, you're talking to Mr. Yankee, or if you give me a Mr. nickname, every year was, the big boss over there smoking a cigar and his little throne of.
So in a sense, you're saying it's not essential for them, or maybe even not essential for every fan to think, oh, we have to win a championship, or else the season is complete failure, it's a loss or whatever. Yeah. It's actually the opinion.
Unrealistic.
It is the opinion of, believe me, there are Dolphins fans that I'm hearing right now are not realistic whatsoever, and not facing the reality that the team is just going to be awful. But there was Ira Winderman, who's the Miami Heat beat writer for the Sun Sentinel. He actually has that very same opinion that, look, regardless of whether the Heat make the playoffs or just barely get in and just get swept by the Bucks, he still thinks like the season can not be a total failure just because you didn't win the championship. You could have these great moments that happen in between and be like, okay, we had all of these great moments, and that itself is the value of sports, and that's the value of the season. Thus, like when I saw Dwayne Wade beat the Mavericks a few nights ago, like I'm like, man, this is my last time seeing him do this in front of my eyes, and I appreciated it more than anything at this point. So I guess I can get that sort of sense, but I also think of it from a big picture standpoint as well, as far as, you know, just legacy and everything else. And just because Mike Trout seems like such a cool dude, he's into weather, like he loves weather. It'd be nice for him to win a World Series championship, and that's all I want to see, or at least get to the darn thing, and lose if he has to, but lose to the Marlins when at the 12th year when we're finally good again. All right, guys, sorry, we are halfway through this.
Yep.
So you know what that means. 'Tis our word from non-sponsors. All right, guys, we've had 3 weeks to think of our people, but I don't know who wants to start. I got mine. Okay, I'll go with mine. All right, so the other day, I posted it on our Instagram. I went to the Miami Open. I got some freebie tickets from a Bumble date. So I freeload whenever I can. And thus we went to the Miami Open. And if anybody does not know, the Miami Open is the first year at the Hard Rock Stadium, which is the home of the Miami Dolphins.
And Miami Hurricanes.
I'm a Florida State fan, so I guess they play there. The former home of the Marlins, where they won all their championships against Charles's Yankees. So we had seen Serena Williams during the day, so we only had a day pass. So you get a day pass, and you have access to all the games during the day. And so we saw Venus Williams, not Serena, Venus Williams. Very fun to watch tennis live. If you've never seen it live, I think that's probably the best way to watch tennis.
Any sport, really.
Yeah, essentially, but especially tennis, because other than Mario Tennis, I cannot get into it on a TV screen. So we were leaving the Venus Williams match, and these two old people, this very old couple, they walk up to us, and they're like, "Oh, are you guys together?" Like, yeah, and you know, for that day, and we're like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Oh, we're not gonna go to the night matches, so here's our 2 tickets." And so they gave us these 2 tickets, and we're like, "Oh, this is great! This is fantastic!" We thanked them, all that stuff, and so they were club seats at Hard Rock Stadium, like if it were for football, they'd be fantastic tickets.
Lucky bastard.
Yeah, so I was in the club section of the Hard Rock Stadium, and I hadn't been there since 2013 when I saw the Seminoles beat the Hurricanes. So I hadn't seen the football stadium in a while. It's completely renovated. It's like a new building, essentially. So kudos on the Dolphins, but my non-sponsors are those 2 old people. I don't know who they are. I don't know what their names are, but thank you very much for those tickets. I can now say that I saw great tennis players, and yeah, those are my non-sponsors. 2 old people. Promo code GILF.
There's some people using a different non-sponsor sponsor search engine on Guild.
Okay.
What did I don't understand this. Bro, that's dope. NGI free tickets.
Not gonna lie.
Oh,
Not gonna lie.
NGL. Okay. Charles, you want to go next?
Oh yeah. See, you guys, April is typically one of the most wonderful times of the year. You got, the race of playoffs or basketball heating up to a big final ending. You got baseball coming in, but it creates a sensation, an excitement, a sense of mania, because, ladies and gents, it is WrestleMania season.
Oh.
Is the WWE Network.
I think we should combine this both into a non-sponsor, but also his WWE.
We should segue into it at some point, yeah.
Okay.
We could segue, because I got a mouthful put in, but to give you guys a little taste before we go into the main one. So the WWE Network, I'm a big wrestling fan, but there was a period of my time where I didn't want to watch wrestling because some of the matches were crappy, the storytelling was awful, but I didn't like to pay pay-per-view money. Pay-per-view money was typically $50 to $60. I didn't need at a certain age to pay like $50 to $60 to see like Tori Wilson dance around for me or Vince McMahon get caught up in bloody. But then came the WWE Network, and if it is the gospel, I am its prophet. It's $9.99 a month, and you get over thousands of hours of content. You get to see all the pay-per-views, including WrestleMania 35. That you get to watch the 8-hour journey of Vince McMahon's brain trust of destroying storylines for years to have other storylines command the excitement and the fatigue, but the beauty and the excitement. And you can even watch all the old matches. Remember those WWF days when it was Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock? Remember when DX was telling people to suck it, so you were in school doing the hand signals
Suck it!
to the boy? You're like, John, suck it. Or when you're the NWO and you're just telling everybody you can't be part of our clique because it's just too sweet. You can relive that faction too for $9.99 a month. And including that, you can also see some of the WWE Network special programming, such as 205 Live, which I don't watch, but NXT, which has a pay-per-view this weekend. NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4, where Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole go at it for the vacant NXT Championship, 2 out of 3 falls. It's two fantastic wrestlers. You get to see them on the WWE Network this Friday, and it's only going to cost you nothing. Why? Because there's typically a free trial when you sign up. I highly advise you do it. WWE Network, promo code wrestling.
Oh boy! Look at this. Yeah, streaming live. You got a prepaid card you can redeem. You can watch it on your computer, on your TV, on your phone. Sheesh, they got it for everything.
Don't be Taco Bell for a day.
Yeah, man. You can yeah, exactly. This is great. Wow, look at that. PS4, Xbox One, Xbox 360. They don't have GameCube, but whatever. All right.
I'll be honest, I don't really have a non-sponsor that stands out to me. That look of shock on Francisco's face. This was a very kind of well, you know what? No, I take that back.
There we go. Improvise right there, right on the spot, dude.
The legendary internet-connected GameCube.
Like the 3 games that supported internet connection on the GameCube. Phantasy Star Online, and then I think Mario Kart had Double Dash at a LAN connection, and I forgot what else. But yeah.
So yeah, anyway, my non-sponsor of the week is, and I forgot their name actually. I'm going to look that up really quick. Because I didn't do any of the planning.
The Nintendo 60, yeah, they don't have N64 WWE Network. You got to talk to them, Charles. You got to go up to Orlando. Go up to Orlando with Andrews and be like, "Yo, there's no N64 connection to this. I need, does it require the expansion pack? Could I transfer all my Pokemon into it? Oh God, Pokemon in WWE."
Oh, that would be. Wait a minute. There's already a wrestling Pikachu in Super Smash.
Yeah, that's right. There's Pikachu Libre, and then there's Incineroar, who is basically a wrestling lion.
Okay, so the name of the place is Tropical Acres Steakhouse up in Fort Lauderdale. Never been there before, but the reason I went is because I attended my sister's baby shower.
Dude, congratulations. Oh, I got it on screen here. Alrighty.
And I actually have never told either of the guys this, but yes, my sister is having a baby, so
yay!
I will be an uncle, as strange as that sounds, in about a month.
Yeah, you're joining the club, dude.
Very nice staff were there. It was a very nice place. I didn't actually get to see the main restaurant itself, since it was just a banquet room that we were in the back. But like I said, staff was very nice. Food was very good. But more importantly, I appreciate them, making the event very special for my sister, for her fiance. It was a great event all around. So it's much appreciated to Tropical Acres Steakhouse off of Griffin Road in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, it's in Dania Beach. Okay. All right.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Keyword is future uncle.
Nice, dude. All righty.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Congrats.
Surf and turf. Perfect. Cheesecake. Nice. Love it. Okay. So that's our non-sponsors, guys. So, Charles?
Let's go back to the WWE.
Exactly. So...
Oh, wait, hold on. Timeout.
Timeout?
Sorry. I think Slash wanted us to talk about
The Slash?
The Slash.
Okay.
Not just the Slash. It's Slash 1100. So 1100 times better than Slash.
Does anyone remember that episode of South Park where they were talking about Slash as if he were Santa Claus? Okay, well, okay, that was an aside. Okay, March Madness, that's right. It's a big thing that's happening right now. We should probably talk about it, right?
Winter Slash.
That's true. Okay, he remembers it. Okay. Then we're down to the Final Fours, finally. For both men's and women's.
We missed literally all of March Madness.
We missed Florida State getting whooped by Gonzaga. We got to the Sweet 16, so what can I say? We missed UCF. Just barely. Dude. Come on. Almost. You're almost there. You're almost there.
I'm still reeling from that. I was physically nauseous when that didn't go in. That was centimeters away from going in the other direction, literally. I'm not sure if anyone has seen it. I'm sure Francisco is going to pull it up on the screen right now, and I'm not going to look at it because I'm
just going to put up the bracket, dude. I don't want to give you any more PTSD.
Thank you. I was physically nauseous when that happened. That was so heartbreaking. It was worse than it was even worse than when UCF lost the Fiesta Bowl to LSU this past year. And I thought that wouldn't be topped, but that was so painful.
I know, man.
But if there's any consolation, it's that Duke held basically the same score against its next two opponents. We lost by 1, or they won by 1 against us. They won by 2 against whoever their Sweet 16 opponent was, and then they lost by 1 to Michigan State. Again, I know this is totally relying on, what's that thing called? Transitive property.
I mean, you could essentially say, I think some people even mentioned it on Twitter and stuff, that you guys may have created the blueprint on how to beat Duke.
Exactly. And the crazy thing is, everyone, a ton of UCF people, or radio hosts, things like that, including the official SB Nation website, SB Nation blog, they knew what the blueprint was. They all knew it. And for some reason, no one else had picked up on it until Johnny Dawkins and the UCF Knights. I don't know why. It seemed like a no-brainer in hindsight. The key is to not make them a full-court team, to make sure they can't go on fast breaks. And keep them shooting threes from the perimeter, because they have
it's going to be had, believe me. He is not going to stick and do.
They have Zion Williamson, who is a beast. I tend to agree with everyone saying that he is the best basketball prospect since LeBron James. Or maybe not that far back, but he is one of the best prospects in a long time. And he can hit threes for sure, but his strength is in the paint. His strength is inside the arc, as is much of Duke. Their 3 points, we were able to hold them outside most of the game, and that's how we were able to keep it close. It also helped that we had a 7'6" Taco Fall. And everyone thought Zion Williamson was going to dunk on Taco, despite what Taco said, that he said that he wasn't going to let Zion dunk on him. Taco was right. He did not get dunked on by Zion Williamson.
Mm-hmm. Well, So
what's basketball?
you, it's finally something for you to build upon. Be you, Mr. Canada, what's basketball? That's the opinion of a lot of hockey fans. Like, a lot of hockey fans are very adverse to basketball for some reason. I've never understood why. Well, I can kind of understand why, but it's kind of like they play in the same time frame and all that stuff. So I guess it's kind of a rivalry in some sense, but it's oh, he's a low major. That's why. Okay.
Yeah, he's a Boston University fan.
That is true. That is true. But what I said about hockey fans is also true too.
It is less a hockey fan thing as it is our basketball team sucks.
Yeah, okay. No, I'm giving you kudos about that, Mr. Canada, because there's a lot of irrational hockey fans, that's for sure.
Let's see some of the comments as I was talking. Tom Izzo chuckles at your pain. Tom Izzo's the head coach at Michigan State.
Right.
I disagree with you there, Charles, and here's why. Michigan State has won championships. They've made it to the Final Four many times in the past. This was UCF's 5th time in the tournament. They had just come off their first ever win in the NCAA tournament, and they were centimeters away from taking down the number 1 overall seed. Can you imagine how much that hurts?
Top culture pain.
Oh, dude.
Okay. Hard to dunk on a man who is as tall as Treebeard, Lord of the Rings. And then rip my Vols. Yeah, that's not a great showing there by the Tennessee Volunteers. Sorry to say that, Slash.
All right.
As you said,
Florida State just lost. We got Gonzaga, and it was just like, okay, whatever.
And what is you had it up? What are the Final Four brackets?
Oh, well, I mean, it's up here. It's Auburn, Virginia. Virginia finally making up for their disaster last season. They have to win at this point. And then finally Texas Tech and Michigan State. So it's nice. We got some new blood in there as well, not UNC and Duke and all that stuff. I remember, was it Deadspin had an article, now that Duke lost, where do you direct your hate? So a lot of people are like, oh, we can direct it to the Golden State Warriors, we can direct it to the New York Yankees, the Boston Red Sox, the New England Patriots. So
Auburn. Slash is pulling for... Wait, you're directing your hate at Auburn?
Well, it's in the SEC, so
that's true.
Mm-hmm. And we can't have Charles Barkley that happy.
I'm kind of Team Chuck, man.
I agree.
He needs a... was it a vicarious championship in his life?
I am teams that haven't won an NCAA championship before. And I believe that's Auburn and Texas Tech. Again, I don't know my college basketball history that well. Who are the other two? It's Texas Tech, Michigan, Auburn, and Virginia.
Michigan State. Don't Michigan get that State, confused.
Sorry. Michigan State, sorry. I don't know. And then
because the other 3 won my bracket.
and then who are the teams in the women's bracket?
Oh, well, it's up there it's on our crawl. It's UConn, obviously. They're facing off against the Fighting Irish, and then we have the Oregon Ducks versus Baylor in the women's Final Four.
Those are 4 expectable teams. Those are 4 teams that you would expect to be in the Final Four. They're all awesome, especially UConn and Baylor.
Right.
Notre Dame also has been good recently.
Right. Did they win last year? Or, I'm not even sure.
I can't remember, to be honest.
We could always look it up on these fancy
I don't even
computers.
remember who won the men's tournament last year.
So
women's UConn being that good makes me disinterested in women's college basketball.
Okay. All right. So that's college basketball. We're gonna see the Final Four for both of these sides, and we'll talk about that next week. Yeah.
And can we, since we're on
college, right? So we might as well get on to the hockey. Mm-hmm. Frozen Four.
Sorry, we keep pushing you back. Charles. But
Don't worry.
It's okay.
We're saving the best for
I'm
last.
writing
Don't worry.
down notes.
we are saving the best.
Oh
for
no,
last.
he's collecting his thoughts right now. So,
Oh boy, BU, I am really looking forward to seeing what you have to say.
so we have here the Frozen Four. It's being held at the KeyBank Center in Buffalo, New York, home of the Buffalo Sabres. So at least somebody's winning a championship over there. I have to throw some shade at some team, dude. I'm a Panthers fan. Okay, don't worry. Brett Hull will not be in the crease. So you guys won't lose 4 Super Bowls in a row. All right.
So let me just do a quick breakdown.
Go ahead.
Semifinals are Denver versus Massachusetts, UMass, and then Providence versus Minnesota Duluth. How they got there. Massachusetts is the number 4 overall seed.
I mean, we're looking at, okay, so I have the bracket up here. So we had St. Cloud State, who was number 1 overall.
Number 1 overall, and they lost to American International.
Right. So, and then you had Ohio State losing to Denver 2-0. So Urban Meyer's once again eating a pizza in the back of a truck.
But let me clarify, though. In football, this would be the upset of upsets. In this case, Denver is a very good college hockey program.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of Panthers prospects that have come out of Denver, actually.
That's right. I forgot that beat you. St. Cloud State was the number 1 overall seed for 2 straight years, this year and last year, and they lost in the first round for 2 straight years.
So they've been choking. So then from that bracket, Denver just spanked American International, shut out 3-0. So then we had the other bracket. You had UMass beating Harvard 4-0. Then the Fighting Irish beating Clarkson 3-2.
In overtime.
And then UMass spanking the Irish 4-0. Finally, we had the next bracket, we had Minnesota Duluth, who they won a couple seasons ago, right? The championship. I forgot what year, but they defeated Bowling Green 2-1. Then Quinnipiac 2-1 over Arizona State. Very good season for Arizona State. Bravo, you guys, for making it into the tournament.
That's awesome.
Very great for hockey.
Exactly.
I'm extremely happy for them. I'm hoping they build on it and can actually, man, if they make the Frozen Four, make some noise.
ASU is the outside of Alabama Huntsville, not to be confused with the Crimson Tide.
Last season, that's right. Okay, I knew they won.
BU knows his college hockey. He basically runs the college hockey subreddit. So this is awesome that we get him in here each week to talk about this. ASU is the only Southern team, which is basically below the Mason-Dixon line, in the entire Division I men's.
But it's not just they are in a major college program, like as far as all the other sports are concerned, baseball and football, and basketball. Like now they have hockey, and it just kind of brings it all together, really. And it's the dream of Gary Bettman is alive.
Yes, and
as much as people hate him.
And look, a lot of major, quote unquote, at least in football, major schools have club hockey teams at the division.
Yeah, they play in the ACHA usually. Yeah.
Like UCF is there.
FSU,
Florida.
Florida Gulf Coast has a pretty good squad.
Miami, you name it. But none of them are anywhere close to Division I. But like you were alluding to, I think if ASU continues to be successful, and you'll have to correct me, BU, but I don't even think they're part of a conference. So they don't even have the opportunity to get in as being a conference championship. A conference champion, they have to get in of their own merit. Correct.
Yeah, they're essentially independent.
Right. Mm-hmm. It's like being Notre Dame, but worse. Because they don't have in part because their current rank only sits like 500.
Well, but it's great. It's great in the sense that they're doing it this way. It's kind of like when Bobby Bowden built up Florida State. he basically had the mantra, any team, anytime, anywhere. And the Sun Devils are essentially doing that.
Right. So that is great that they made it at least, and they
unfortunately lost to Quinnipiac, who then lost to Minnesota Duluth 3-1, and then we had the final bracket: Providence 6-3 over Minnesota State, Cornell 5-1 over Northeastern, then Providence 4-0 over Cornell, and then when we finally reach our Frozen Four in Buffalo, Providence will take on Minnesota Duluth, the defending champions, and Denver will then take on UMass, the Minutemen.
And then BU had brought up, here is Minnesota Duluth, who won last year. They're trying to be the first back-to-back NCAA champion since Denver in the early 2000s. So that's very interesting. Also, do not get college hockey fans started about that Providence regional.
I'm going to have to look that up, to be honest. But
and just as a note, Providence beat the number 3 overall seed Michigan State. I know some of these words, says Charles. And then before we move on to WWE, the regional was in Providence. Oh,
so they essentially had a home ice advantage. That's well, but that's. You can technically have that in all the other sports too, as far as
right,
like college basketball.
Like Memphis, for example, in the American Athletic Conference, men's and women's this year.
So it was not at their home rink, and they still had access to their home facilities, even though they were the 4 seed in their region. But I think that's just the luck of the draw in a sense. Mm-hmm. But regardless, and you can't really predict, because I'm assuming they already had Providence set as a city before the whole tournament even started. So, but I can get the anger for that. Mm-hmm. But all right, so Frozen Four. I'm hoping I can catch that. It's on ESPN too.
And
the whole tournament.
I think the final is on ESPN Main. Which would be great, and I love it because they use the old ESPN hockey logo, hockey song, which put them in Manchester, New Hampshire, isn't that much of a schlep.
But scheduling and all that sort of stuff. I'm assuming. I'm sure Providence wouldn't have been happy if that had happened. Mm-hmm. Just to move it to another city.
Right, and then just a quick recap.
And another state, really.
Oh, sorry. And then just a quick recap, as I mentioned earlier, the Wisconsin Badgers won the women's Frozen Four.
Oh, that's right. They were playing, and the funny thing you pointed out to me, what was the name of the arena?
They were playing at the People's United Center.
It just sounds like a communist state. It sounds like there's like a red star in the middle of it, and the Soviet flag, and the USSR is women's team plays there or something.
Home of Quinnipiac, says BU.
The Quinnipiac communists, as we all know. It just. All right. We are not going to get sponsored by anyone in the United States after that, but I'm sure the Continental Hockey League wouldn't mind sponsoring us. We could do Continental Hockey League coverage. Why not? I don't even know where in the season they are in the KHL. I was following it for a little bit, but Putin just subscribed. Okay. All right. So that's our college talk. We're done with college. We are 1 hour and 28 minutes in. We still haven't talked about the NBA.
I think we can leave it out. I don't know.
Well, actually, let's let Charles do his thing, and if we have time to talk about basketball, we can. Okay. Because by next week we'll be really in the final week of the season, so we can even talk about it then. All right, Charles, we're gonna let you loose.
Can't wait for this.
You know, some of the greatest things in the history of mankind have been told us. The Big Bang Theory, you know, that's one of the miracles, phenomenons, evolution, dinosaurs, all that stuff. But the greatest thing that moves the soul of humanity is WrestleMania. This Sunday, starting at 7, kickoff starting at 5 on the WWE Network, is WrestleMania 35. Now, I can sit here and tell you why it's fantastic, but take your Super Bowl. Imagine it had a baby with, like, the World Series, and that met up with the person who had a baby with the NBA Finals, which had a baby with the Stanley Cup Finals, and they got together, and that baby was born, and that met, like, the Olympians of wrestling, baby, and met pure Screen Actor Guild Award Oscars with some ballet and theater, and then it produced WrestleMania. So WrestleMania is 35 years old, and oh man, we have a card. Went from being simple to being like a 4-hour pay-per-view with like 7 matches to being like 6, 7, 8 hours loaded with everything. But this year is the year where Vince McMahon is laughing, because not only is he telling Bill Polian and Charlie Ebersol and Mike Dunn or Tom Dunn to suck it, he's also telling people the MMA and UFC world to suck it, because they are really riding the coattails of the phenom named Ronda Rousey, who is going to be main eventing in the first ever women's main event at WrestleMania in a triple threat winner takes all title belt match between her as Ronda Rousey as the Raw Women's Champion versus Charlotte Flair. That's right, the daughter of the Nature Boy Ric Flair, riding Daddy's coattails. Second best, but second's pretty good in a race, you guys. Remember that, as the SmackDown Women's Champion. And then we have Becky Lynch, the Irish glass kicker, the Man. That's her nickname moniker, and I love it. You know, they're going to be going at it, and whoever wins both titles. Is there talks of unification? I don't know, but I'm excited. Not really, because they overbloated it, because Vince McMahon, when something's too good, he panics and goes even further. It's like, you know you're getting a second date, dude, but you end up doing too much. Why are you doing this? She's going to call you. It's okay. So we have a couple matches that are breaking out in there. We have that who's going to be closing up the main events. We have Brock Lesnar, a former UFC heavyweight champion. You see the pattern? It's happening. Going against Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship belt. What do we know what's going to happen? I don't know. Brock's held the belt for about, 6-7 months. If he's going to lose, I'd be surprised. And you have all this other stuff. WrestleMania, guys, I'm excited. You have a little bit old school, new school. Triple H and Batista. That's right. Drax is coming up. He come up in this method. He's promoting Endgame. Remember when I talked about them having a baby, the SAG Oscar-winning awards? He's him, and he's pure Hollywood persona. It's going to be a no-holds-barred for Triple H's career, because Batista's doing this for one last match, because he doesn't want to go out like no Punk, so we really have it at the biggest WrestleMania moment you have. The highlight match, the match I'm looking into, AJ Styles versus Randy Orton. Names that none of you people know. But AJ Styles can have a 5-star wrestling match with me, and I barely have one good knee. He can have a 5-star match with a broom. He can have a 5-star match with a baby. The man is talent, bathed in talent. His perfume, his cologne, the natural scent of it, musk, is talent. You have the Intercontinental Championship of Bobby Lashley, who was a former MMA fighter. Remember I talked about the pattern? Going against Finn Balor, the Demon. That's right. He has a persona where he puts face paint and body paint on him because it's intimidating. The guy's like 5'11", and Bobby Lashley is like a 6'8" black man with muscles upon muscles, looking like a boulder. I call him Bocce Lashley because he can't do any moves. Don't steal that trademark. I'm gonna be putting it in myself. You have the United States champion Samoa Joe, big old man going against Rey Mysterio. That's right. He's still alive. He's still kicking it. He dresses like a gay little unicorn. You really should, put it on the screen. Type Rey Mysterio Jr.'s newest hire. You're going to agree with me. You have the Women's Tag Team Championship with people I don't kind of care about because it's oversaturated, so I'm going to skip that. But it's for women's tag belts. You have The Miz and Shane McMahon. That's right, Shane McMahon, because it's not WrestleMania without McMahon getting their ass handed to him. And it's going to be Falls Anywhere. It's going to be a weird match. This is the Saints. Kurt Angle, a former Olympian versus Baron Corbin, who used to wrestle in the NFL. What do we know about Vince McMahon and Triple H? The talents that they get, former MMA fighters, former football players that couldn't make it. It's going to be a terrible match. I'm going to enjoy it. And then you have the Cruiserweight Championship, Buddy Murphy's Tony Nese, whatever. Yeah, the Andre the Giant Battle Royale, whatever. Women's Battle Royale, whatever. I mean, fun note about Andre the Giant Battle Royale last year. Guess who made a special guest appearance? He's now retired. He was rumored now to be getting the WWE contract real soon. Rob Gronkowski. Dare I say Vince McMahon just whips out the wallet and throws some cash money at him? Maybe, because who wouldn't want to see Bill Belichick writhing in pain saying, look at what my boy's become, like the Godfather. Look what they've done to him. Couldn't take a hit, but he's going to take fake ones on the mats. You guys, I'm excited. It's happening. I'm all excited.
I literally just posted this up here, and it already had an advertisement on YouTube for WrestleMania, like... And so, so I'm looking at Rey Mysterio. What the heck is he wearing?
A unicorn.
He looks like a really sad Cincinnati Bengals fan.
He looks like a Cincinnati. We're gonna go on the deep end. We're gonna get canceled. He's basically, I guess for those who aren't cultured, I don't want to explain to them what S&M really is, but, he's basically, the submissive in the relationship with the mask with his Cincinnati Bengals outfit. Love me some Ray Ray. He still does it from time to time again. This match was horrible. I was watching it last night. Yeah, I don't know. Look at that. Look what they've done to me.
I mean, the weird thing is his tattoos on his chest. It looks like he's wearing a bra. So it just looks weird. He's got the feathers and the thing and the tiger stripes on the side. Like, I don't know who designed that. Adidas? I'm assuming Adidas designed it.
It looks like a
designed it,
he's not going to be like Cardi B knocking out dudes. He'll just let them line up. It'll be okay.
Oh boy. All right. So WWE is about to have WrestleMania. They're promoting it like crazy right now, and Charles is already doing some free promotions for them. So we gotta shoot that guy up to Orlando to have a word with them. I'm surprised you haven't been outside of their office to kind of like, hey guys, yo, this is what you should do.
The dream job is for some reason McMahon hears my mind.
Have you actually ever looked for a position with them?
One time. And then they wanted like a photo shot. And I'm like, I look like Shrek. Let's not do this. I would love to be a writer to book illogical stuff too, because I would have midgets. I would have kittens in there. I would have like a garden rake, write storylines about that. Because at the end of the day, wrestling is a soap opera and a ballet. It's a dance with some author coming in. What you're seeing with the Rey Mysterio Baron Corbin match is basically, this is not just a push-a match. It's Kurt Angle's final match at WrestleMania. So Baron's just beating up on his buddy. He's beating up on his buddy. He's like, you know what? Because they're going to face each other at WrestleMania. I don't care about your little midget Cincinnati Bengals stripper fan. I'm going to end this stuff. And what happens? Baron beats him. Spoiler. And then at the end, Baron's like, ha, 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 I did this. And Kurt Angle comes out of nowhere and just twists his ankle and beats him up. And I'm like, look at that, guys. Done. It's what you got to do. If you like the theater, like educated people, and you're sick of seeing the old same stuff like Rent.
Oh, there it is. I see it. Oh, no. No.
Guys, and it's so badly done and executed. But guys, why would you want to pay all that money to the theater to see, all the stuff that we talked about when for $9.99? I mean, look at that. Two bald men. One looks like Mr. Peanut. The other one looks like a bouncer at a high-class establishment.
Okay. All right. So that's the end of that. Okay. Well, there it is. Wow. Sunday, April 7th. Kickoff starts at 5. Where's it being held?
MetLife Stadium.
MetLife. Oh, home of the New York Giants and New York Jets. Not a dumpster fire there.
Next year it's gonna be.
I'm throwing a ton of shade at a ton of teams right now, only because my teams are dumpster fires themselves. All right, so that was our wrestling talk. Thank you, Charles, for another riveting update on the world of wrestling. We love hearing it, and I can't wait to chop that up and put it on Twitch and YouTube and stuff like that, and Instagram especially. All right, so
we have 20 minutes left.
We do have 20 minutes left. I still want to talk about the NHL, because we are coming down to the final games of the season. I think there's only about 2 to 3 games left for pretty much all of the 31 NHL teams. So we will start with that, and I guess we shall start at the top, and that is the Tampa Bay Lightning. Andrew, the Lightning have been awarded the President's Trophy already. They have clinched home ice throughout the playoffs. They are on a historic run. They've won 60 games in the NHL, and you guys better damn well sure win the cup.
Yeah.
Like, this is it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no other option.
Yeah.
Like, if you lose, it doesn't matter when either. It doesn't matter if it was game 7, double overtime. You have to win the darn thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know when the last time a team of this caliber has had to try and win the cup, or else, like, you made a suggestion, was it 95, 96 Red Wings or something?
Yeah, there have only been 3 teams in NHL history. Better to get bounced from the first round than lose in the cup finals? No, absolutely not.
That's like saying, like, when the Warriors lost to the Cavs in 2016, like, it didn't matter when they lost. The fact that they lost is all it is. Like, if they got bounced in the first round, it would have been a catastrophic failure. For the Lightning, it is literally they just have to win. I don't even, like, getting to the cup. They already lost the cup final in 2015 to the Blackhawks. Like, they barely made. They almost got to it in 2011, but that was a completely different team, obviously. But they have to win now.
Yeah, the Lightning have made it to the conference final.
BU, as far as that, at least you still get a trophy. Tell that to the Florida Panthers fans right now, because that Prince of Wales trophy, we've been looking at that banner for 20 something plus years now, and it's not getting any better.
Yeah, you kind of took the words out of my mouth there. This is anything, and listen, in any other situation, I say, okay, if you can make it to the finals, that's a great accomplishment.
That's a good question.
Like, for example, with UCF, it's a great accomplishment to take the number 1 overall seed down to the centimeter. The Lightning have to win. This is non-negotiable. They are the winningest team since 1995-1996, which was the 62.
They have a plus 100 goal differential.
They have a plus 100 goal differential.
They are 32-7-2 at home. You guys haven't even lost double digits at home. You're 28 and essentially, let's say, without the Bettman points, 28-10 in away. Like, you guys are stacked on both sides.
Listen, I know you've got 16 teams. Each one has an equal chance of making it to and winning the Stanley Cup. I get it. But in terms of how much, you can't go through a 60-win season and not be expected to be the cup favorites. Yeah. I know, BU.
I mean, especially in the NHL, because the NHL has the most random chance out of all the sports.
It has the most parity, I think, of any any of the major
LA
sports
Kings
leagues.
were an 8th seed and they won the cup. So the Carolina Hurricanes could just get hot,
right,
and beat the Lightning in a 7-game series. It could,
right.
I don't expect it to happen, but because I don't really think any of those bottom 3 teams trying to fight for the last 2 spots can beat them. But it just takes a hot streak. You could you could draw the Columbus Blue Jackets, and let's say Sergei Bobrovsky finally shows up and actually stands on his head to win. So yeah.
Yeah, I completely understand all of that, and believe me, I've been racking my brain about this topic for the past couple of months, seeing how successful the Lightning have been. But in terms of, this would be a you blew it moment times a million. This would be devastating if they can't win the Stanley Cup, considering that, one, this is basically the last year of this core. The Lightning are
pay up soon.
They got to pay up soon, and they are. Thanks to Steve Yzerman, he is a shrewd businessman.
Who is officially not the GM anymore, but
right. But he created this.
Correct.
He got it right at the salary cap. Got these incredible players right at the salary cap. This is the last year for a lot of those players on their current contracts, and you obviously cannot pay them all because they're going to want more. This is the last year for that core, which has been mainly around since 2015, the last time they made it to the Stanley Cup Finals. I mean, obviously, new guys have come in, like Andrei Vasilevsky. I think Kucherov wasn't on the 2015 team, and he is absolutely tearing it up. I think he's over 120 points this year, which is absolutely ridiculous. Mm-hmm. This is a situation where this will be the best opportunity the Lightning will have to win a cup, perhaps for the foreseeable future, because this is a well-meshed team. I mean, look at Louis Domingue with his antics post-game, like driving a motorcycle through the clubhouse. Any teams I want to avoid playing in a series? All of them. I just want them to hand us the cup.
Andrew you are so nervous about this playoff run right now.
I am so nervous.
It's essentially you guys you have to win. Like every other team that's going to make the playoffs right now, they all have a shot at least. Mm-hmm. And just getting into the Stanley Cup playoffs is all you need. It's just for most teams that's all it takes.
I think if I were
hot at the right time.
I think if I were going to let Andrew have a WrestleMania segment of ranting if the Lightning lose,
dude.
Oh Lord.
But it's the Lightning are at a point where it's win or bust. It's win or bust. But I'm just thinking of the teams that they wouldn't want to face. I mean, they've basically handed the butts to everybody at this point.
Yeah, but
it's the regular season,
right? That's the thing, though, is, like if I was a Golden State Warriors fan, I would feel this season.
Let's take a look right now, okay? Because we have the NHL has their last 10 games. So the Lightning I've gotten 8-2 in their last 10 or something like that. Right now, who's hot? You have the Washington Capitals, who are kind of the New York Islanders, but these teams are just kind of like in the Metro, are kind of just coasting into their seeding. The Penguins are hoping to get home ice over the Islanders, so maybe that could happen. But the Capitals are obviously going to face one of the top wild card team. The Blue Jackets, the Hurricanes, and the Canadiens they have to win. So they're all basically winning around the same time. Mm-hmm. Carolina's kind of wavering there, which is unfortunate for us because we are fans of them. They are fans of us because Boynton actually followed us on our Twitter page. So, we love those bunch of jerks, and we hope they win. And, obviously when the Habs don't make the playoffs, that's great for everyone.
Yeah. Well, Charles brings up a good point here. And as I was thinking about it, Charles, I think any team that has won a Stanley Cup in recent history, I am very scared of playing. In this case, that would be the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Washington Capitals.
The Columbus Blue Jackets are getting hot. If they, let's say, they wound up as that second wild card and you have to face them, they have the tools. They have Panarin, they have Atkinson, and they've got Sergei Bobrovsky and a Vezina winner already.
Yeah, that's
That could be the Achilles heel.
The thing that scares me the most is a team with a good goaltender. That would be Bobrovsky. That would be Price. That would be Marc-Andre Fleury over in the West. What's the Penguins guy's name? I forget.
Murray.
Thank you. Murray, I'm fairly scared of.
Anybody who's at least had has already made the run. You have Tuukka Rask out in Boston.
I think
you have Anderson in Toronto.
I'm a little less scared of the Islanders just because they don't have that playoff experience. I think they've only made the playoffs once in a blue moon, and that was the one year that they beat you guys.
Trocheck was still trapped, by the way. But
no,
ahead.
Absolutely. Even Urinating Tree agrees. You guys got jobbed. To put this in Charles terms, this is like the Montreal screw job.
Yes.
Okay.
But I think any team that has had any sort of experience in the playoffs, they are going to be tough. Because there's something that happens when you're in the playoffs. It's a whole different animal.
And that's why NHL playoffs are one of the best.
Exactly.
If not the best.
And Charles made a good point. The game changes in a series when you have to play the same team up to 7 times. Exactly. That's why these one game.
Tell that to the Columbus Blue Jackets. They were up 2-0 on the Washington Capitals and then promptly lost. You guys lost to the Capitals last season. The same thing. The Capitals beat the Penguins finally.
Right.
That whole run for the Capitals essentially was that comment that Charles just made. Like, everything changed. There were points where the Capitals were down, and those teams had chances to take them out. The Lightning forgot how to score, and that could very much happen again. So they've shown it.
Yeah, it's there are pluses and minuses to the different playoff systems, which is one game takes all versus a best of whatever. A team that is that would lose 99 times out of 100, something it was 3-1.
Yeah.
The Lightning series was 3-1.
Yeah, I think so.
I must have blocked that out of my head. But 2013.
Oh, that's right. The 2013, the frickin' Toronto Maple Leafs finally.
Oh, yes.
That entire collapse. Oh, my goodness gracious. That was really bad. It felt great seeing the Leafs lose in that sort of fashion, but at the same time, the Bruins won. However, the way the Leafs lost, you take the good with the bad. Okay. But
go ahead.
Your thought.
Sorry. One game take all, you never know. That team that wins 99 times out of 100 could sneak up and do something remarkable. But at the same time, a team like let's say the New England Patriots, who are vastly superior than most of the teams in the NFL, you have a better idea of they have a much better chance. They have higher percentage of winning because the other team doesn't know their game plan that well. They can't really get used to them.
Yeah.
But if you're playing at minimum a 4-game series, then you start to pick up on tendencies.
Yeah. So, okay.
So I am cautiously optimistic about this playoff for the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah. Which is the complete opposite of the other side of Florida. This is something I wanted to talk about. I'll try not to go over too long with this. I'll try to keep it within 2 minutes.
I'm sorry. I totally ranted.
No, you were not ranting in a sense. You were praying to the hockey gods.
And I don't usually
the Lightning kind of put this all together and finally do it. But I'm on the other side, which is I'm a Florida Panthers fan. I've been a fan since 2011. I've had myriad of opportunities with the Panthers. Very thankful for them. When I covered them as a member of the media, very great organization, and all that sort of jazz. But from a fan perspective, I am fed up, as Empty Seat Picks Galore Twitter account would attest to. I am fed up with the team. I think a lot of our fans are fed up. Season ticket holders are fed up. We've been promised a bright future for the Florida Panthers since Dale Talon took over in 2010. Essentially, right off the heels of the Blackhawks finally winning the Stanley Cup Final, which he had a huge hand in constructing. And I'll give it to them. They've got a great core of players. Alexander Barkov has just tied the Panthers single season record for points in a season, 94, with the great Hall of Famer Pavel Bure. Jonathan Huberdeau having a career year. Evgeny Dadonov, another great year. Mike Hoffman, best trade we've made since we got Yager. All of these guys, this is our best offense. I don't know if in franchise history, but it's getting pretty darn close. We have the third best power play, which the Panthers power play has been abysmal since I've become a fan, and we finally figured it out. Like, offensive standpoint, the team finally has figured it out. Unfortunately, we forgot how to play defense. We also forgot that James Reimer is not a 1B goalie. He is definitely a backup, and a backup, as in he should be sitting next to Ryan Tannehill type of backup. So enjoy that, Charles, in Tennessee. Gotta throw some shade at Ryan Tannehill. He's finally gone from the Dolphins. That happened also between this time that we were not talking on the show. And Roberto Luongo is going to be 40 years old. He still has 3 seasons left on his contract, by the way, that the Vancouver Canucks gave him. But he's 40 years old. And unless he has like a Dwayne Rollison type of run, like he had in 2011 with the Lightning, we should find a new goalie, preferably one, who wasn't born in the 70s. Just for my thoughts.
To give you everyone an idea of how old Roberto Luongo is, he is one of 4 or 5 players that played an NHL game in the 90s.
Him and Zdeno Chara.
And there are 2 or 3 others.
Maybe Marleau and Thornton, maybe.
Yeah, those 2. And I think there was one more, but these guys have been playing for nearly 20 years, and almost, if they can hang on for 1 or 2 more seasons, they will have played over 3 decades.
Oh, funny thing for baseball, there's no player that's played in the 90s anymore. Like, the last player, Bartolo Colon, he's not playing right now. He's not on any team. So there's no single Major League Baseball player that has played in the 90s right now.
But on the opposite end of that, the first player that was born in the 2000s is now playing with the Toronto Blue Jays.
Right. So we're all
and not played in the 2000s.
The sun's gonna blow up.
Was born.
I'm very depressed right now with the Panthers.
Me too.
I should be in that depression sucking factory out in California. There's a helmet that sucks depression for some reason. At least they think it does. But okay, let me wrap this up because I just want the Panthers to not hurt me anymore. This is a really bad intervention for the Panthers, but
for those who can't see what Francisco is doing, he's practically putting his hands together and looking up and praying to the hockey gods like I was.
Just freaking Gordie Howe, if you're up there. If you could sprinkle some of your fairy dust onto the Panthers up there with Ted Lindsay and who else is dead? And Maurice Rocket Richard and...
You could use a goalie. You could use Terry Sawchuk.
Yeah, I could use Terry Sawchuk or Jacques Plante. Just some of those great original 6 guys to kind of give the Panthers some semblance of hope I wouldn't mind going back to the Stanley Cup Finals, even losing. Even losing, we could hang another banner. That'd look really nice. We don't have to do. It doesn't have to be that great. We could get swept again. I don't even care. But man, I'm tired of the gimmicks with the marketing. I'm tired of. They had this is on Fox Sports Florida, their channel. They had Alexander Barkov saying, because it's their 25th anniversary. Panthers hockey, 25 years and we're just getting started. And the way this season has gone, which on paper this roster should have made the playoffs. Everybody has taken it as if 25 years and you guys are now just getting started. Like, that's how we're taking it. Like, the Marlins could do that. In fact, that was their motto last season, just getting started, for their 25th anniversary. But at least they had 2 World Series championships. So it could be like, well, other than the horribleness, we at least had 2 shining moments. While us, the Panthers, our shining beacon is getting swept by the Avalanche in 96 in a fluke season. Like, the Vegas Golden Knights are good. That Panther squad lasted 2 good seasons. That was it. But I just...
Charles chimed in really quickly over...
I only went to one game. That one game that we went to... Yeah. No, 2 games this season. 2 games this season with you guys. And... I don't know what can be done. It's just, this is kind of like the feeling of a lot of sports fans. Just replace it with whatever team that you're a fan of that's doing horrible right now. And for me, it's all of them. It's all of them. The Panthers and the Heat, which they're still fighting, the Dolphins, the Marlins, and even the Seminoles football team. I am not having a good time right now. Okay, end of that. Whatever.
Well, 2 more very interesting comments here.
We should have invested in the AAF instead of the Hurricanes owner.
And then the Panthers want the AAF Bill Polian vision.
Nah,
Charles,
we're not that desperate.
You always know the best things to chime in on the chat.
I try.
Okay, guys, we're at 2 hours.
This was a fun one. I had a lot of fun with this one.
Unfortunately, we couldn't get to the NBA, but once again, we'll talk about it next week because the end of the season is going to be happening by then. And we'll have a better idea of the playoff seedings and the dumpster fire that is the last 3 spots of the Eastern Conference.
Right, and then on top of that, we won't waste,
Dwayne
quote-unquote, waste. We won't use 30 minutes to talk about the AAF because... they'll either be alive or they'll be dead. And we can cover that in about 5 to 10 minutes.
But, and we didn't do all our other segments, but we had a lot of stuff to talk about from the last 3 weeks. So thank you, everybody, for joining us on the 20th episode of Sports Goofs. Thank you to Andrew. Thank you to Charles. Congratulations to our member Cesar. He won a case. So that is why he could not be here. So good on you, dude. Congratulations.
We have to end with Doug.
And Doug, all I know is that he could hear Ultra from the Grove, the Ultra Festival, and he was essentially chiming in on the traffic situation there.
Hashtag Firefest 2.
Yeah, but regardless, thank you, everybody. Have a good night, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, and we will see you guys hopefully next week for another episode of Sports Goofs. Ciao.
Love, peace, and hair grease, everybody.
Watch wrestling.